I'm not well known for my pies, as some of you may know, but I'm gonna give a good old beef and mushroom pie a crack. So I've got this pot over here heating up, and you're gonna bring it up to a nice hot heat. Now I'm gonna use the high heat oil because it's neutral in flavor and we've got a lot of flavors coming out through the pie as is. So heat that up nice and hot, and then you wanna add a good splash of high heat oil. Now I've got 1 onion finely chopped, and we're going to add that to the oil once it's nice and hot. And you want to make it hot enough so that when you add in the oil it gives it a little bit of sizzle. But don't burn your onions, you want them just nice and soft and translucent. So it's got that nice and hot. Oh, you can add a sizzle. And you want to cook the onions off for a couple of minutes first, then add in the garlic. I find sometimes when I add the garlic too soon, you actually lose a lot of the garlic flavour. So while my onions are softening up over here, I've got my beef cut up into nice big chunks. So I'm just going to season my beef, and I've had it out in room temperature now for about 20 minutes. And remember, season it just before you cook it because you don't want to dry it out. So give it a good stir. Now for the garlic. New Zealand cloves, they're nice and strong. Squeeze that in. Here we go. Chuck that in there. I absolutely love the smell of onion and garlic cooking. Good thing to remember when making pies is you don't want them to dry out and get all dry and chunky. You like them to have nice thick gravy. Awesome. Now onions are ready, garlic's looking good. We're going to add in the tomato paste. So all you want to do is just add it in with the onion and garlic, stir it around, and then we'll move on to the beef. So you want to make sure that you stir constantly because you don't want it sticking to the bottom of the pan. Alright, this is looking good. Now tomato paste, you definitely want to cook it out. It has a real raw, bitter flavour to it. So now I'm just going to tip that over. Now it's 1 pot, so you don't have to clean it or anything like that because it doesn't matter if a bit of the flavour gets on the beef. And we're just going to cook the beef, but just make sure that you try and get all the onion out so it doesn't blacken. Excellent. It's good to go. Now we're going to chuck that on, add a little bit more oil. Just be careful of that it doesn't burn. So you just want to sear off your seasoned beef and let them sit, looking good. Alright, our beef is looking really good. It's nice and brown and seared, so I'm going to add the onion mix back in and stir that up. Starting to smell really good too. Now the good thing about making your own pies is you know exactly what goes in it. So you can pick all the ingredients you like, and you know that it's going to be no real preservatives, big chunks of fat, or any nasties in there. And it's full of love, that's for sure, when you make a pie. Because it does take a little bit of time, you know, it takes a little bit of love, but you know it's going to be good. Excellent, so that's all good. We're going to crank up the heat, and I've got a cup of Merlot wine here. A nice full-bodied Merlot, and I'm now just going to deglaze the pan, which means just getting rid of all the stuff off the bottom to add flavour with this wine. Stir it in, and you're going to bring that up to a boil, and then we're going to reduce the wine. We're going to burn all the alcohol out of it and reduce it right down so it's nice and rich. Right, it's reduced right down nicely, and I'm going to add some stock. This is homemade stock. You can get stock from the supermarket or the stores, but just make sure you get a good stock because it's, you know, majority of it's the flavour going to be the base of your dish. So you want a good flavoursome stock. And crank up the heat again, bring it up to a boil. We've got 2 bay leaves I'm going to chuck in, some thyme, stalks removed and just leaves picked. We've got some shiitake mushrooms that have been soaked and hydrated, and some little button mushrooms as well. It's been cut up. We're going to place them in. Oh yeah, that's looking good. So I'll just quickly show you the shiitake mushrooms. When you get them, they are dry. Just chuck them in a jar, fill up the jar with water, put the shiitake mushrooms in there, and they'll start to hydrate, rehydrate, and become nice and puffy. Now, don't throw away the stock. You can use that mushroom stock for all sorts of dishes. So we've got the mushrooms in there, give that a good stir. Now I've got some Worcestershire sauce. I'm just going to measure out 2 tablespoons, bit of flavour. Now for some Coleman's whole grain mustard. Excellent. Now stir that in and really start to smell the flavours come through. Plus you can see what you've put in it. You can see your meat, you can see your mushrooms of the 2 kinds, you can see your thyme. You know, you can see the whole grain mustard. Place the lid on top and let that cook. And while that's cooking, I'm going to get my pastry ready. So what you want to do is grab some oil. Just use the same oil. So I'm just going to use 2 large sheets folded in half. Lightly just brush in between. A good nutrition tip from the Sanitarium team was to use phyllo pastry instead of other pastries, as it's better for you. Also, I like using the phyllo pastry because it goes nice and crispy and brown on the outside and flaky. Don't worry too much about the sides, because I'll show you why in a bit. Just fold that over. When working with phyllo, it's super important not to let phyllo dry out. Now this is ready. Let's check on it. It's looking nice and good. Smells beautiful. It's nice and thick. Give that a stir in. Excellent, there you go. Now we've got the 2 sheets here, ready to go for the filling. I'm gonna spray my tray with some avocado spray. And all you wanna do is put it onto your lightly oiled tray and then spoon the mixture into the middle. Just do 1 pie at a time when you're spooning in the mixture. Now you can make these all different sizes. You can put it in a big pie dish if you like, and make a big one, or you can make nice little money bag serving ones. Cut yourself some string. Now make sure it's cooking string and not the string that has the plastic wrap around it. Now, let's top with a little bit of parsley on top. You can tie it right up so that you don't see inside, or you can leave a little openings that when people get it, they see what's inside the pie. I'm gonna tie one up so it's like a money bag. Put your string, hold it up the top, and tie your string around. Perfect. You can see inside and one's nice and tightly closed. Now for the last bit before it goes into the oven. So we're just going to crack an egg in and whisk it up. And you can use the same brush as the oil. And this is going to give us a nice golden brown finish. Brush it around. And they go into an oven at 180 degrees. Alright, my pies have been in the oven and they're ready to go, so I'm going to plate them up. There we go. Got 2 little pies there, one closed and one opened up so you can have a sneaky little peek. Parsley, chopped parsley. Nothing beats a homemade beef and mushroom filo pie. For the recipes featured on tonight's show and the chance to win fabulous prizes, see the Savour section inside this week's Herald on Sunday. Next week we explore the flavours of Mexico and the Middle East with a fresh tandoori lamb and biryani salad and my Mexican chicken wrap stack.